being the end of October, the time had come to bundle up our bees for the winter. As with many things in beekeeping, even bundling up bees for the winter is not without some type of controversy. Some people believe that you have to have an opening at the top of the hive for the bees to enter and exit, and for air to come out so that moisture won't build up in the hive. And others believe that that'll freeze the bees out and that the hive should be sealed up. Those that believe it shouldn't be sealed say that the condensation in the hive will freeze and that water on the hive in the colony will kill the bees. Both viewpoints are actually correct. You want to have a good compromise between allowing a little bit of airflow through the hive to knock moisture out and not enough airflow to cool the brood nest. So I use top boxes with burlap that have a closable vent on them and a piece of styrofoam on top. That kind of can serve as a place where moisture can collect and the burlap can be pulled out if necessary at a later time. One thing is for certain, we live in a northern climate and it gets cold up here. So I have fashioned these styrofoam blocks to go around the entire perimeter of the beehive to reduce the amount of heat loss that will occur through the sides of the hive. With a metal pan underneath the bottom and the styrofoam on the side and the styrofoam block and burlap box at the top of the hive, we've done pretty much everything we can to give them a pretty solid place to winter. We can still open up the hive and go in there to add additional sugar cakes or what they call winter patties, which are kind of like a pollen patty, except they don't have the pollen in them. They just have the fats and the minerals that are necessary for the bees to survive. So we can go in there every now and then, pull the burlap out, and take a look in there to make sure everything's okay. And if they need another sugar cake or they need another winter patty, we can put that in at that time. We do have entrance reducers in the openings on the bottom of the hive, so there's only about a 1-inch by half-inch gap for the bees to come and go for their cleansing flights. And it's important, since we don't have an upper entrance, to occasionally check that entrance and make sure it is open and that the bees can get in and out for their cleansing flights. I do intend at a later point in time to put some metal mouse guards on the front of the hives, but right now there's been a lot of physical changes to the hive, so I want the bees to get used to these changes before I go and change their entrance even further. In addition to the layer of styrofoam, I also wrap the hives in black cloth, which is basically weed cloth that's used in gardening, and the black cloth serves two purposes. The first purpose is that it'll actually absorb heat on sunny days to keep the outside of the hive a little bit warmer. And the second purpose is as a windbreak to reduce the air that might come in whatever little cracks and crevices are still in the hives. I intend to put a snow fence up as well to stop any major drifts from pushing up against the hives, but since we live here, we can always go out and take a look at the hives and see how they're doing. Obviously, the bees weren't too happy with me covering over their entrances in the process of doing this, but that was quickly remedied, and they seemed to forgive me without leaving a stinger in my hand, so I was happy about that. Once the cloth was in place, then it was a matter of wrapping them up, and I used a wax-covered string and just basically looped it around the hive. Both the wax-covered string and the weed cloth itself are biodegradable and may very well start to fall apart during the winter. If that is the case, or if we're having a really, really bad winter, I may take a sheet of Tevex, which is what's used under the siding of a house, and wrap the hives with an additional layer of Tevex on the outside. But I fully expect that these black weed cloths will make it through a few months, and that'll take us through winter. The tops of them then get folded down kind of like wrapping a Christmas package up, and that gives us easy access. You just take the bricks off, you unfold the cloth, and you can lift the inner cover over and take the burlap out to dry it out, and peek down through the screen to see how the bees are doing, and see how their supply of sugar and winter patties is doing as well. So we've kind of done everything. We're putting them to sleep for the winter, and we hope that they make it through nice and strong in the spring. It's rough because of the temperature, but we've given them their best possible shot.